Hello, I am Moonstone and welcome to Nostalgia Tour. Very excited Nostalgia Tour this time. This antenna here will not stay up. Like this one's fine and then this one's just... But anyway, very excited Nostalgia Tour. Today I'm going to be talking about creepypastas. More specifically, Slender Man. Now, way back from 6th grade all the way to freshman year, I used to really be into creepypastas. Me and one of my friends would actually watch, off of YouTube, Jeff the Killer caught on tape, The Rake is Real, he was outside my house, How I Survived Tiki Toby, How to Survive Eyeless Jack, How to Summon Ben Drowned, videos like that off of YouTube on our way to school. So yeah, I'm very excited. I haven't been able to talk about creepypastas for a while. Now, if you've been on the internet at any point in time in the past, 10 years, then you should know who Slender Man is. He's an extremely tall, all white, faceless monster, usually shown wearing a suit even though he lives in the forest, and he eats people, children preferred. Yeah, children preferred since they're easier to lure into the forest, and can sometimes be seen with tentacles coming out his back. Slender Man is considered a staple of online horror and the king of creepypastas. Slender Man is one of the earliest pastas to ever go into the mainstream, and it all started with an edited picture of a monster that was posted on a very obscure forum. Then soon more and more pictures of this faceless figure flooded the internet, followed by a bunch of scary stories and eventually fanfiction. Soon Slender Man was in video games, he had memes, he was even in movies. As creepypastas became more and more popular. And then after Slender Man, a ton of new horror characters were created. Jeff the Killer is a close second in popularity, followed by Laughing Jack, Eyeless Jack, Ben Drowned, Sally Williams, Lou. But how did this random photoshopped image of a creature in the woods go from posted on some random forum skyrocket into a global phenomenon? Yeah, skyrocketed into a global phenomenon and then slammed into the wall and had a big downfall. To find out, we're gonna have to actually go back to the creepypasta boom of the early 2010s. Stay up. I feel like I have to stay on this or else you won't be able to see it. Okay. I'm gonna be playing with that through the whole video probably. Okay, so let's set the scene. It is 2009 and there's a Photoshop competition on a website called Something Awful. This site is well known for running Photoshop Friday, a weekly contest where members were tasked with photoshopping images that matched a theme or prompt. And on April 30th, 2009, one of these Photoshop Fridays was created titled Paranormal Images. That's it. The goal was to take an everyday photo and to make them very creepy. can, make them creepy. 2 photoshopped images accompanied with captions were posted. Unknown to that user, they were about to become part of internet history forever. One of the captions said, quote, we didn't want to go, we didn't want to kill them, but its persistence silenced and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time. 1983 photographer unknown, presumed dead. And then the other caption to the other Slenderman photo said, one of 2 recovered photographs from the Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day in which 14 children vanished, and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. Deformities cited as film defects by officials. Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph classified as evidence, 1986. Photographer Mary Thomas missing since June 13th, 1986. This was up with 2 more images of the ominous figure looming through a window and one picture of a fake police port with hastily scribbled writing on it, talking about the Slender Man and begging to know what it wants from them. After these posts were posted, they all received overwhelmingly positive feedback from the others on the thread. Even at this early stage, fighting about the ownership and rights to Slender Man were already popping up. Tons of users continued posting tons of Slenderman photoshops and art and everything from like kids' drawings to fake police reports, Photoshop pictures of Slenderman lurking in the woods and at parks and in various other places. Fake newspaper clippings and snippets talking about Slenderman were all over the thread. And it paid off. Slenderman was a huge hit with Something Awful. Slenderman had become the star of the thread. Eventually, a separate thread was made just for users posting their own original Slenderman photoshops and stories and lore and fan art. And some even went there to argue over Slenderman's lore. As more and more users started to edit their own stories and artwork, his lore got deeper and more convoluted, to the point where they started arguing over how Slenderman is allowed to be portrayed. Some interpretations of Slenderman as an extraterrestrial alien being that made, some interpretations made Slenderman an extraterrestrial being, alien being. Others tried to turn him into Greek or Roman folklore. Some even photoshopping images of cave paintings depicting him. Some people even created very deep, elaborate backstories with actual history interwoven with them, and then turning it into Slenderman and adding Slenderman into it. One of these users posted about a friend called Alex who had been shooting a short film before having a nervous breakdown and asking him to burn all the tapes. They asked if they could take a look at the tapes. Alex agreed on the condition that they will never bring it up again. And with absolutely zero response to this, the poster ended up posting a link to a YouTube video anyway containing some of the found footage. This post was... This post got the thread's attention. Users marveled at the fact that it's only been 10 days since the original post on that Photoshop Friday. It's only been 10 days after Photoshop Friday, and people were already making fully scripted video content for the character. The simple video posted on Something Awful would turn into a multi-year YouTube horror series with millions of views, and that helped skyrocket Slenderman into viral fame. Now, I don't have time to talk about the entire intricate lore of Marble Hornets, but I'll give you a brief rundown. So, Jay is a film student, got tapes from his friend Alex from his abandoned film project. Jay decides to watch the tapes and share them on YouTube, where he quickly discovers what had Alex so shaken about the tapes. Throughout the filming, he was constantly being stalked by Slenderman, who in the Marble Hornets universe is called the Operator. The Operator's presence causes Alex to become sick and suffer from intense paranoia, also known as the Slenderman sickness. As the tapes go on, we get to watch Alex become more and more paranoid. He starts lashing out at the film crew and uses all of his equipment and set up all these elaborate surveillance systems to try and catch footage of the Operator. His entire life begins to be consumed by an obsession with the Operator, who haunts his every step, which leads him to his final breaking point, where he turns the tapes over to Jay, moves schools, and then the videos then start right there where Jay begins to upload his own entries, as his life is also slowly taken over by the Operator. Then you watch as Jay starts to get eerie comments on his videos by a user called the Arc. This is where the ARG elements kick in. The ARC channel was actually made by the creators who were posting these cryptic messages relating to the story, and this YouTube series would actually get a total of 3 seasons, adding a lot more plot and a lot of characters like Hoodie and Masky, the Operator's proxies, and more ARG elements. Marble Hornets is an interesting and very unique. Marble Hornets is interesting and unique. Also, it can be pretty creepy at times. Today, Marble Hornets has over millions and millions of views. Much like the legend of Slenderman itself, Marble Hornets went from an obscure little series to one of the biggest YouTube series ever, at least for its time. It played a huge role in popularizing not just Slenderman, but internet horror in general. The use of the raw, realistic handheld footage and the active ARG elements became blueprints to any and all internet horror series. The series actually continued all the way until 2010 before dissolving due to drama between the creators. Now, despite how things ended for the Marble Hornets series, the legend helped shape what Slenderman would go on to become. Any and all things Slenderman or Slenderman related up to this point copied much of the law that Marble Hornets established. Okay, I got it. Now don't look at it for more than 3 seconds or it's gonna flop again. Okay. Any and all Slenderman and any and all future related Slenderman things now copied much of the law that Marble Hornets established, such as static appearing when looking at him, or when he's near going into insanity or paranoia after encountering him, creepy masked proxies, the use of old handheld footage or found tapes or videotapes trying to document the Slender Man, ruling over the entire internet. Slender Man was the king of creepypastas. Now, Slender was already popular online, but what really pushed him into the mainstream was the video games. Slender in the 8 Pages is the most popular one and the most well-known Slender game, spawning a 1,000,010 run through the woods and get jump-scared copycats with billions of watching grown men get scared and scream at game Let's Play videos. Slender in the 8 Pages, originally just called Slender, released in 2012, sealing the urban legend into the mainstream forever. The game was simple. Walk through a forest, don't get lost, collect all 8 pages while avoiding Slenderman. Slenderman will actually be inactive at first, but once you collect the first page, he'll start coming up after you. And the longer you go without collecting a page, the higher the difficulty will be. Slenderman would often teleport right behind you or in front of you, forcing you to sprint away, since if you come in contact with him or look at him for too long, you can get a jump scare and an automatic game over. You could also permanently lose your stamina, and your flashlight can die if you use it too much. This, combined with the increasing fog that just keeps getting thicker with every page you find, makes completing the game very difficult. The 8 Pages was a huge hit for several reasons. First, it was genuinely scary. There was never a video game like this before. And it was also very popular with YouTubers, especially the Let's Players that were just starting to form on the internet at this time. And then all the children who watched these Let's Players would start playing the game to be like them. Kids always have been weirdly into scary, creepy things, from Bloody Mary to Slender Man to Poppy's Playtime, and you can't forget FNAF. There's a whole treasure trove of horror games created for children who watch Game Theory and Markiplier, and I should know because I am one of them kids. And at this point, Slenderman was becoming popular with a much younger audience. And we all know what happens when a fan base of mostly middle schoolers do when they see something they like. They will be turned into a sexy anime man. And Slender was no exception. Even though he's known for eating children, driving people insane, people will still draw him shirtless with abs and giving him chiseled cheeks and chiseled cheekbones and a chin despite having no face. Tweens and teens were writing self-insert characters, shipping fan fiction about Slenderman and drawing him as a faceless anime boy, and soon a new lore was quickly established. Slenderman no longer was a creepy creature in the woods. He now lived in a mansion in the woods called the Slender Mansion, and all the other pastas like Jeff the Killer, Ben Drown, Tiki Toby, Laughing Jack, Eyeless Jack, Jane the Killer, Smile Dog, along with Masky Hoodie and Tiki Toby, all lived together in it, and they all had their own separate rooms. Slenderman's proxies became MS Painted anime boys. But yeah, and Something Awful, the internet forum Something Awful was not happy about this. Slenderman was a mysterious and chilling monster. He was unworldly. There we go. My brain is mashed potatoes. He was otherworldly. He couldn't be comprehended. He was a weird creature that no one's ever seen before. The Something Awful forum nurtured and developed the character together as a group, making a tapestry of convoluted but also very dark lore. To them, Slender Man was an unknowable, incomprehensible force of evil. Now he's kissing 9 to 17-year-olds creepypasta OCs. The more popular Slenderman became, the more he was watered down and getting less and less scary with every terrible meme. Some did love the goofy interpretation of Slenderman, while others hated it with a burning passion. Anyway, back to the games. After the success of Slender and the 8 pages, Slender games were officially in full swing. A tidal wave of cheap copycat jump scare Slender games started rolling in and became their own genre. Five Nights at Slenderman, Slender Camp, and my favorite, Slendy Tubbies. I remember watching, it was either Markiplier or Jack, it was either Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, I don't remember which one, but I remember watching one of them play Slendy Tubbies. These games followed the same formula. We have big open forest space with some creepypasta character coming out, jump scaring you, and there was normally some kind of collecting element like the 8 pages. These games were all popular with younger tweens and teens. These games were very popular with tweens and teens, but with the death of Flash, most of them have probably been wiped from the internet. These games died as quickly as they were created, and they left a clear trace throughout 2012. Several Slenderman games were being released left and right and up and down. Slender Rising was another major game, borrowing heavily from the 8 pages. And the thing about Slender is because he was created and developed by a bunch of different people, and he was this big internet phenomenon with a bunch of different interpretations, he was basically seen as free real estate. Yeah, as a free real estate character. Anybody could use him and do anything with him, and no one can say anything. Slender the Arrival, released in March of 2013. This game was a sort of sequel to the 8 pages. Now, unlike the 8 pages, this game actually had plot. The Arrival tells the story of Lauren, who drives out into the forest to help her friend Kate move houses, but when she gets there she finds her house completely abandoned and trashed with creepy drawings and scribbles all over the place, and the rest of the game follows Lauren, the player, as she searches the woods for Kate, and a character named Junior went missing around the area, and it is revealed that he was turned into a proxy by Slender, and he is an attacking enemy throughout the game, same with Kate, who is also now a proxy. The game has a lot of 8 pages mechanics, running around through the level with a flashlight, trying to avoid Slender, but with a few mini games thrown in there. The game exploded in popularity, mainly to players who played the 8 pages or who watched somebody who has. Even today, the game has a very loyal fan base. And by this point, Slenderman was on top of the world. He scared an entire generation and officially has shaped pop culture and internet culture forever. Unfunny Slenderman memes were being pumped out daily, and it seemed like things could only go up for the tall, well-dressed monster. But sadly, fame is fleeting and nothing lasts forever. At this point, Slender has gone from being an obscure being to as popular as the Tooth Fairy. Everyone and their mother knew about him, and he only became more popular as more games and YouTube videos, memes, and merchandise were being made. The whole Slenderman slash creepypasta fandom was now being divided into two halves. On one side, some believed Slenderman to be real. On the one side, some believed Slenderman to be real, some doubted, but they were both scared yet fascinated by the tall, faceless creature. Then you have the other side, full of uwu teens that believed he lived in a mansion with a smiling dog and a smile dog and laughing Jack. Now, me personally, I was kind of like a mix of both. Did I believe the creepypastas were real? Some of them, yeah, not all of them, but some of them. Did I believe Slenderman was real? Yes, I did. Are his proxies real? Yes. Could I try to become a proxy? Yes. But the only thing I was afraid of was failing to impress. So, how Toby, Masky, and Hoodie became proxies? One, Masky or Tim piqued the monster's interest. You see this in Marble Hornets when he was the one with the abandoned film project. Hoodie or Brian became a proxy because after Slender got Masky, Brian / Hoodie had those tapes. He was the one posting them on YouTube. He watched the tapes. Now Brian knows the existence of Slender, and Slender had to do something about him, so he turned him into a proxy. And Toby, if you read his creepypasta story, it ends with him burning down his own house and running into the woods. And him burning down his own house, I guess, impressed Slender enough that he became a proxy. So middle school / high school me thought the only way to become a proxy is to impress Slenderman and show him that I'm worthy. Show him that I am worthy and how valuable I am as a proxy. But there's a catch. He eats humans. So if I were to fail impressing him, or if he didn't think I made a good proxy, I thought he would eat me. And that scared me enough to not even try to become a proxy. As much as I watched those how to summon insert creepypasta name here, I was too afraid to do it. I just kind of watched them. But there are some kids braver than I am, and I am, of course, talking about the Slender. I won't go into any graphic details since I do fear demonetization, but I will briefly talk about it because this was a big thing that kind of led Slender into his downfall. So on May 31st, 2014, two 12-year-old girls lured their friend into the woods during a sleepover and her trying to sacrifice her to Slenderman in an attempt to become his proxies. The victim survived that, missing several major arteries just by inches. The victim was able to get onto a road where a cyclist found them and quickly took them to the hospital. Meanwhile, the two girls fled the scene after promising the victim they were going to get help. They were found by a cop on their way home and were quickly arrested. After some interrogation, they admitted to the crime, saying they wanted to run away and live with Slenderman. The two girls claimed that they didn't want to do it, but they had to, and that they were in too deep and thought Slender would hurt them or their families if they didn't. They seemed very convinced that the creature was sending them in real-life signals. Slenderman had tricked a number of gullible people into thinking he was real, especially the younger kids of the creepypasta fandom. But it never had escalated to this level. Thankfully, the victim made a recovery and was able to return to school months later. The two girls were found not guilty by mental disease and were both sent to mental health facilities for 25 and the other one 40 years. The incident was highly shocking with how young the girls were and how violent the crime was, but that's not what the media was really latching onto. What the media was really latching onto was Slender Man. A lot of parents were now learning about Slender Man through this horrible crime. Parents were in full panic mode, cutting their kids off the internet, monitoring what they looked at and looked up and watched 24/7, telling them what they could and couldn't watch, look up, or even like. Parents formed in groups campaigning to ban Slender and creepypastas, and some even tried banning horror as a media or genre completely. Good luck. After all this news broke out, Slender Man was considered cancelled. The fandom that formed around creepypasta very quickly lost steam, and Slender became a very taboo topic. Slender Man and creepypasta as a whole was something to keep a very hush-hush secret. It was something you didn't openly talk about anymore. You had to whisper it to your friends. Unfortunately, as the Slender Man topic became taboo, horror movies featuring the creature were ready and released to come out a little late trying to catch on to the popularity of the monster. Little late there. I remember one movie just called Slender Man in 2018. I have a very distinct memory of being at my friend's old house in the kitchen as she talked about the Slender Man movie because she wanted to watch it, and her showing me the poster for it. There it is. She was telling me all about it and showed me the poster for it, and me being the secret, because it had to be a secret, creepypasta fan, me being a real big, deep creepypasta fan, really wanted to go see it. And I remember seeing a bunch of fake trailers for like upcoming creepypasta movies. I didn't know they were fake at the time. I thought they were real, and I was so excited, only they never came out because they were fake. We both never got to see it, and while researching, I actually found that the 2018 Slender Man actually wasn't the first Slender Man movie, and there's actually been a lot of low-budget movies and short films featuring Slender. After the incident, no further games or movies came out. No further games or movies came out. It seemed like the whole world pushed pause on Slender Man and never pushed play. Slender Man's pop culture footprint seemed to slowly wither away into nothingness. And that's it. Anyway, thank you guys for taking this nostalgic tour with me. I'll see you next time.